Hi everybody, it's me, Miss Jessica Lahore, and we're back with another Jessica Tries. And for today, we're trying for the very first time astrology. And who better to take me on this spiritual journey than my good friend Alex Kriech. He's a local astrologer and Denver medium who has taken my information, has come to my home, and we're gonna deep dive into knowing a little bit more about Jessica Lahore, a little bit about Zach even, and what the astrology, what the stars have to say about me. Now, before we deep dive into everything that we're anticipating, make sure that you subscribe to my channel, you've hit the bell for notifications, and you're not missing out on any Lahore content. All right, Jessica Tries Astrology. Let's get into it. Come and join me as Jessica Tries.
Hey, hi.
Hi, Alex.
Oh my God, hi.
I'm really excited
Yeah.
to do this. I've been a little bit nervous. I'm just gonna put
Yeah.
that out front
Yeah,
and
for
center
sure.
because the last time I did anything astrological or even, just past, present, future, whatever, it was drunk at a party and it was like with my best friend
Oh,
who
for sure.
got it all wrong, mind you.
Okay.
So it's been many, many, many years.
Right.
Getting past those nerves, I was really excited because you've been doing this since 2015, more professionally.
Yeah,
So,
like somewhere in like the spiritual realm since 2015.
in the spiritual
Yeah.
realm, you specifically are not nervous about this because this is like what you do. So,
Yes.
what brought you into kind of spiritualness,
Yeah.
mediumness?
Yeah. I mean, I am nervous before every client, I will
Okay.
say still. Like, I don't think it's something I'll ever quite get over. I also think it just kind of keeps you fresh a little bit. Like,
okay.
so like you're not completely like phoning it in. You know what I mean? Also, I would say nerves before. Anytime, a lot of times before I have a client, they're like, "I'm really nervous," and I'm like, "Oh, it's totally chill. It's a safe space." But I get it because, yeah, there is like, am I about to be clocked? Essentially,
And influence. There's so much influence. Even I would say the person that's sitting in the chair, like, oh, I don't believe any of that.
Yeah.
If they hear something that's so true to them,
Yeah.
they can't help but feel this is like real.
Oh, totally. And like, because you can always tell in the moment when I'm like, that gagged you, didn't it? You know what I mean? You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Oh my gosh.
So,
You're gonna see the face crack
yes.
when it happens.
Okay. Was your question, how did I get into it? I forgot what you asked.
How did this become more of a profession? So
Yeah.
in 2015, but obviously this
Yeah.
has been happening longer, like the interest.
So it's kind of a long story, but I have always been interested in psychology, spirituality, but also like paranormal stuff. You
Okay,
know?
I
Like,
love paranormal.
so, because I was always interested in like mediumship, what happened. Like I was in second grade and I was like checking out books from like the library at my school where they somehow had books on like ESP and like near-death experiences. Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
and so that fully influenced me, and my parents were weirdly cool with it, and my mom and my dad both have had weird experiences kind of throughout their lives, like that sort of opened them up to like, hey, there are things beyond there are things that happen in this universe beyond like what we are taught.
So that positive perception
Yes.
definitely influences you because they're not like a stereotypical parent that's shutting it
Yes.
off. This isn't real. Stop that. Make whatever.
Exactly.
Okay, they
Yeah.
acknowledge the existence, which helps you then
Yes.
do this.
They were chill with it, and then when I first went to college, I actually got into numerology first.
Okay.
Which was, I feel like it's like the little known kind of cousin to astrology, and I very much fell into it very quickly. And it's similar to astrology in where you take like your birth date, and in numerology you take your name, and you're looking at like, who you are, your life's experiences, all of that. So
From your name?
yes.
Oh.
But I kind of fell out of it because I can only take that so far because it's kind of boring. Like, it's fascinating, but I also was like, I got to do more stuff beyond numerology. Okay. And so I was kind of studying astrology like the whole time, and just like reading books about it very casually, and like just learning slowly, listening to podcasts. Podcasts in like 2009, which were like just becoming a thing, but
Yeah.
still very influential to me. And somewhere along the line, I was like, I really would like to do what they're doing. Like they're at home on the phone with a client and doing a reading. And so in the back of my mind, I was like, I feel like I'm going to do that for a living someday. And just like the sort of weird confidence and like knowing I'm like, I think I'm going to do that. You know what I mean?
This is the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, cause I want to, you know, I want to be in the spooky spiritual realm, but also like my thing was like, well, why does life happen in the order it does? Like, is there an order to things? Things like, you know, like, do we have other lifetimes? Is there like a reason why things happen? And so I was very much on that whole journey. So kind of cut to 2015, I actually start learning psychic mediumship, which is something you can learn how to do. It is a skill.
Really?
Yes.
I thought it was very much a like, I just realized I have this power within kind of thing. But is it a yes and?
It is a yes and.
Okay.
It's very much like, I feel like my thing is like, I'm very pragmatic about it. If there's something I'm interested in, I'm gonna seek out a teacher and like learn how to do it. And I'd kind of had moments when I was doing numerology readings where I would just sort of know something or see something in my mind. And so I went down that path, and that was all consuming as well, because I was like, oh, I feel like the psychic medium thing is also something I would like to do as well. So that's connecting to like your spirit guides, reading your energy and all of that. And so while I'm kind of on that journey, astrology starts coming in a lot more seriously.
Okay.
And that's about 2020, 2021, because I started to think in astrology charts, like someone would, you know, because I was like, I would always kind of be interested before in like, oh, what's their birthday? I want to do their numerology.
Would you meet people and be like, I want to know these things just so I can
100%.
figure some things about
and
you?
I'm trying not to be creepy or weird about it.
Hey,
but,
you give me your birthday and...
But after like a drink or two, I'm like, you want to slip me your birth time?
Oh my
like,
gosh,
let's find out. And then so around then, there's a pattern where I'm going to seek out a mentor. Oh. And so back when I was listening to podcasts in like 2008, there was this astrologer that I really looked up to, and like she was just like this very no nonsense like Capricorn New Yorker who was like, so who was also an attorney.
You put that in your description, non-BS or
yes,
non-BS, and
totally.
I think that was the most comforting qualification to put, be like, we're going to do this, and non-BS.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh, that makes me feel better that you acknowledge that some people are going into it feeling that way.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I feel like it's important to like put out there like a sense of legitimacy, but also just like groundedness. And I'm not going to give you like, I'm going to try not to give you like fluff bullshit. you know?
When it comes to people that you know though, do you ever find it more difficult? So like obviously we've known each other, we work together pretty regularly. Do you think that impacts, or is this like facts are facts? Like this is what it is about you?
It's definitely both. I mean, there is when I'm reading someone I've never met before, total stranger, and you're like giving them facts about their life and they're like crying in front of you, that I'm like, okay, that's why I love astrology or whatever it is I'm doing. But it can be a little harder with like family or friends, but also at the same time, facts are facts.
You have been really successful with promoting yourself in this industry. Tell us about your business and like how that has blossomed.
I just feel like the universe has been like, this is kind of what you're supposed to do. There are many times I've been like, do I want to fucking do this? Because I've had so many moments where I'm like, especially in the beginning, I mean, for the first few years and even a lot since then, where something will kick in because it seems so out there and you're like, is any of this real? Like, am I real? Like, what's going on here? Is this what I want to do for a living? Do I want a big boy job? Do I want to be, and I'm 30, I'm going to be 36 this year, and it's taken me, I don't know, almost 9 years, which is a numerology cycle, by the way, but which is to understand that, like, I don't want to do anything else. I, like, experimented with doing other things, and I don't want to do anything else. This is it, baby.
But you've said that since the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, you know this.
Yes.
So it's just putting in that consistency, and you've seen a lot of success from it,
Yeah.
too.
And just enough that it's always been, I was full-time at a certain point, and, like, I went full-time in January 2020, and
best time to go full-time for anything
I know.
is January 2020.
Weirdly, it did work out because I had like an office and was doing like in-person clients, and it was kind of like in this town in South Dakota where I was kind of feeling like I was like that bitch at that time. But
do you have a preference when it comes to doing readings where it's on Zoom, over the phone, or in person?
I mean,
like for me, when you were like, oh, we could do this over Zoom, I was like, if we're doing this,
for
it's
sure.
got to be
For
in person.
sure.
I need to see your face.
Yeah.
I need to make sure you're not Googling me. I don't know.
I feel like that is a thing that people do want in person. I feel like practically, I would like to do more in-person stuff in Denver now. I'm like ready to like, I want to be out there more, kind of doing stuff in person. But honestly, I kind of love the phone, where I'm not even seeing your face sometimes, and I'm just like in my pajamas. Especially if I'm doing like a psychic medium reading, I don't want to see your face and like your facial reactions to like what I'm saying to you.
Because that could trigger what you're actually saying.
Yeah, it could like make me.
Benefit.
Yeah, it can like make me nervous that I'm like off track or something. And like the most important thing with psychic medium work is to just like deliver the information with, don't filter yourself, essentially.
Such a good point and a very good perception.
Yeah.
I have to ask a little bit more in depth, as this is Jessica Tries Astrology.
Yeah.
What kind of things should I expect from today when we deep
I
dive
mean,
into it?
I definitely always start with the rising sign. So we're gonna talk about your rising sign first. So
how many signs, pieces do we have?
So your chart, and I'll show you like on the laptop and whatever. Your chart's really like this wheel. So your chart is like a snapshot of the heavens kind of flattened into like this 2D plane. And like what is going on with the sun and the moon and the planets when you're born is sort of like it's like your soul is sort of like the blueprint of that. Like I think that your higher self or soul chose when exactly they're going to be born, and also to who they're going to be born, fortunately or unfortunately for people, right? So, and so that's why I was like, I need your birth time. I'm not playing with you about this birth certificate, because astrology it can be very specific. So when we start with the rising sign is like your attitude and approach to life. It's your It also sets up your whole, like the whole architecture of your birth chart, because it's not just your personality. It's like the life experiences that you've had, experiences yet to come, your relationships. Like it's really, people always say it's like very much like a roadmap for living your life. And I really like to look at it as, because I'm really obsessed with like kind of finding out where in time you are, kind of making sense of like your life experiences.
That's what I'm worried about.
I think you have some actually really good stuff coming up for career. So I would be excited to see what's coming up in 2025, 2026 for you, which we'll talk about.
Okay. We're going to find out my destiny.
Yes,
You've been given all of my information, social security number, birthday, everything.
Yep.
I'm ready to dive into this.
Okay.
So, let's do
All
it.
right.
Okay, so Alex, talk to me where we're starting. You've been given all my information.
Yes.
Tell me what you think you know about my existence and destiny.
Yeah. I think that you're actually a very cozy, sweet, nurturing Cancer rising. So, because I literally, by the way, I have for 3 years been like, I want to know Jessica's birth chart
really?
So bad.
For
yes.
3 years?
Well, because I've been working at Mary's for 3 years, and I was like, I wonder
It's
what her
because
rising
I'm
is.
so scary. You're like, I need to know why she's such a scary
I
bitch.
literally, I was just like, I bet she's a water rising sign, because, so, okay, the rising is, that's kind of what I really need your birth time for. But I will add, Jessica's chart is very cuspy, meaning,
I told y'all.
There's,
doubted.
yes.
I told you.
There's just a lot of planets that are like right on the edge of like a sign boundary. So, it was unusual in that regard. But the ascendant is like, often when people guess people's signs, they're really kind of guessing their rising sign.
Okay.
Because the rising is sort of like, sometimes what you get when you first meet someone, and it has to do with kind of like their aura, their attitude and approach to life, personal energy. And also, if you're gonna watch a horoscope, like a good horoscope, you should watch for your rising sign. First of all, like Cancer rising, Cancer is like the mother archetype. And Cancer above all is going to be seeking like emotional security. And themes of like home and family just tend to be very strong with people with Cancer energy. So like Cancer does tend to, like when it's like, how you know a Cancer rising likes you is like they're gonna know like how you take your tea, or like what you're feeling that day. It's like they can kind of tell like when you're feeling off.
Oh, that's so right.
And it is like this mother, it can be this very mother energy, but I think you have a lot of really private kind of energy too, because a lot of your planets are in this like very private 12th house, which we'll talk about. So So there is this like sensitivity because
Yes.
I was just like, because I've always been like, I feel like Jessica's sensitive. It's giving water sign
There are
energy.
certain topics that I'm very sensitive to.
Yes.
But I try not to tell people what they are because then
exactly.
they know.
Exactly.
But you can tell when I'm sensitive to it.
Cancer sometimes can have a hard time just letting go of things emotionally too, because it can be very connected to can be very nostalgic and very connected to the past and but very much because you have thought this entire time that you have Taurus energy, correct? You're very connected to Taurus energy. Taurus and Cancer, I think, are very kind of compatible, sort of cozy soulmate energy because, at the end of the day too, Cancer rising, it's I'm gonna...
Taurus and Cancer are soulmate energy?
I mean, there's a very kind of cozy compatibility between those two signs and some overlap.
Okay.
So honestly, Cancer rising, I think sometimes it's I want to cuddle with my kitties and in my partner and watch a show and just kind of be together.
Yes.
So Cancer is also ruled by, so signs are ruled by planets. So planets are kind of the boss of signs. So Cancer is ruled by the moon. So the moon in your chart is very important.
Yes.
Also, Cancer, the reason people say Cancers are moody, which can be true, is because the moon fluctuates the most. It changes signs the most.
Yeah, it does. That's why I'm moody.
So
it's
exactly.
The damn moon. Don't blame me.
Exactly. So, with Cancer rising, it's important to kind of pay attention to your energy levels and kind of honor your energy where you're at, essentially. Looking at your moon, so you have this intuitive, kind of creative, sensitive Cancer rising energy. I will say Cancer is before I move on to your next thing, Cancer is also a cardinal sign. Okay. So cardinal signs begin seasons. So Cancer rising can be very enterprising. People often kind of overlook it as this sort of bad bitch energy, but Cancer rising is going to be starting things. It's going to be achieving things. So your moon's in Gemini. So
my moon is a Gemini.
Your moon is in Gemini.
But my moon is in Gemini.
Yes.
Okay.
So Gemini moon, and the moon in your chart is going to be really, really important.
Yes.
And also your sun is Gemini as well.
So I've got two. But these are two-faced bitches, right? That's the Gemini?
That's a stereotype. People need to stop coming for Gemini.
Yeah, stop coming for...
It's lazy, ignorant bullshit.
Yeah.
So there
lazy, ignorant bullshit. No BS in this zone here.
Exactly. So that means you were born right the moment of a new moon, which is pretty cool.
That is really cool.
That's kind of dramatic and fierce.
I'm so fierce. I don't even know what it means, and I think it's so cool.
It's on an esoteric level, it's sort of when you have a new moon kind of built into your chart, it's I think in this lifetime, because I do believe in past lifetimes, and I think in this lifetime, it's sort of signifying that it's time to choose new things and new patterns. It's a new cycle for your soul.
Oh, God,
essentially.
Yes. Okay.
I don't know how that would hit for you, but
it hits so hard. There are so many new routines, patterns, and decisions being made this year that have been positively impactful. And I hate change. I'm fearful of change, but they've been so good.
So your moon and sun are in Gemini. And they're conjunct, which means they're right on top of each other, giving that kind of new moon quality. They're in your very private, hidden 12th house. So when you look at your chart, you're going to see kind of
12th house.
Yes. Again, it's not
the one.
I know you got 12 of them, sweetie. So when we kind of look at a chart, it's going to kind of look that there are these little pieces of pie, and that 12th house they all kind of represent different life areas, and the 12th house is privacy. It is sort of what is hidden from view is what people don't really see. The moon in Gemini in particular is very mentally restless. But it does have a gift for communication. Gemini is a very kind of curious energy. It's very witty. It's very
Are they good communicators?
Yes, and I would say yes, and because 12th house energy can sort of mean I need my alone time to just kind of process my life. Please leave me alone so I can do that. Whether that's I'm going to call my best friend and just use you as a sounding board and have a back and forth conversation. I'm going to journal, but Gemini is about words, communication, and messages. And with the moon there specifically, it's just it's a lot of that energy. It's very restless energy. Yeah, it's not the most like glamorous kind of place essentially, because but it's just kind of telling me, I was like, yeah, we at least are going to need some alone time. Also, your moon and your sun are exactly making this 90-degree aspect to Saturn. So Saturn is the planet of like discipline, hard work, limitations, delays, like working for what you have. And this is not an easy aspect at all. However, I do think it's what kind of helps you become successful at the same time. Because that to me is sort of saying like anything that we have in this life, especially money stuff, because the sun in Gemini in your chart rules the second house of money.
My second house is fully loaded.
It's like whatever comes in, it's like you're going to be sort of working hard for. Saturn can also represent like kind of like life's lessons and challenges, but also like fears and anxieties. Okay. And one thing that Gemini has, like one thing I would say Moon and Gemini in the 12th is like dealing with anxieties, like mental health things, because Saturn is very cold, realistic, and sometimes depressing. So when your planets are an aspect of Saturn, it's sort of like reminding yourself sometimes, I think, to go easy on yourself, to like let go of things. And also, even if I didn't know who you were, I would be like, oh, I feel like we've like processed some like mental health kind of stuff and have had to work through like fears and anxieties and just on a more, and you know, in a more intense way than other people maybe have had to. But also I'd be like, oh, this bitch probably works really hard. Like, you know, so
100%.
So Venus in your chart has to do with like love. Venus is like love, beauty, relationships, creativity.
Is it dry there?
It is not. It is hot. But it's specifically connected to your career.
Oh.
So like what? So well, okay. It means multiple things, but like. Okay, so there are many places you can go in the chart to look at.
Is it saying I'm in love with my career?
It says like,
because that's very true.
I mean, possibly.
And I love that more than most people.
Listen,
that say that.
I'm probably in the same boat with you there. It's sort of.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah. So you have Venus in Aries.
Okay.
There are certain signs that Venus expresses herself naturally in. Venus is like softness and beauty but Venus in Aries is more independent and more brash kind of expression of Venus, that sort of like right. Fiery kind of warrior goddess.
Yes, that describes me perfectly.
Exactly. And one thing Venus in Aries is going to do is sort of buck trends and expectations, and also a lot of times with like gender expression.
Ooh. I love that. Yeah, that's so true.
Well, and also when you look at your Gemini stuff too, like Gemini, there's like multiple versions of me. Like it's not just, you're not just getting one thing. There's like multiple kind of dimensions, because Gemini is like multiplicity. I mean, so like, are Geminis two-faced bitches? Maybe most of the time, no. Maybe sometimes, but like.
But anyone can be a two-faced bitch.
Yeah,
it's just how their sign would handle being a two-faced bitch.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But you have Venus in Aries conjunct, meaning kind of like right on top of, connected to the point in your chart that has to do with career. So if Venus represents creativity and like. Venus in Aries is just very out there. Like I am who I am and fucking deal with it is very kind of Venus in Aries.
That is the energy that I have been holding recently. I didn't used to be that way, but I am now that way.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, and I would say there's a lot going on with your Aries stuff in Venus right now, and but like Venus is like creating things, and it has to do with like beauty and performing, and just seeing her right there connected to your midheaven. It was just kind of cool. Also, the other thing too, when we look at Aries, we always go deeper with astrology. We ask like, okay, what planet is ruling that? Where are we going with that? So Mars, the planet of action, energy, and fire, rules Aries. So I'm like, okay, where else? What is Mars doing in your chart? So you have the planet ruling your career and also your creativity and self-expression, because it rules the 5th house in your 2nd house of money. So your Mars is in Leo. Leo is very much performing, the spotlight, expression. So your Mars is in Leo, the sign of the performer, governing your 10th house of career and public reputation, and also your 5th house of creativity. So it's like, so like if I didn't know, you'd be like, oh, like, do you do something creative for a living? Maybe like out in the public eye, like creative, but also like very fiery and kind of like in your face kind of vibes. very Mars and Leo.
Very much. Okay.
Yeah, and given that your Mars is in the second house, this is very much like a self-enterprising kind of energy because you have the planet of like kick-ass energy in your second house of money.
Yes.
So
Kick ass, take
Yes.
names, take checks.
yes.
Yes.
And I'm, you know, and I'm thinking like back in the day, maybe when we were first starting drag or something, it's like I'm getting the ones I need to pay my rent this month. I don't care.
That's literally,
You know?
I got trashed so much earlier in my career because I would take any gig possible.
Oh, yeah.
Not realizing people were like, well, you just are greedy for gigs. No, I had bills
Yes.
to pay. And what you saw was me trying to survive
Yes.
each month while living out of my fur coat in a closet at a broken down apartment. So,
Yes.
yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am, my bills. I have shit to pay.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's gonna be clawing her way up.
Ooh.
So a couple things kind of happening right now. I
Okay,
actually
right now
pull
to influence
up-
the future.
Yes, and I believe in like free will and all that too. I don't really know exactly.
You can believe in free will all you want, but if it's true, it's true.
There's some things that I think. First of all, the moon's in Gemini right now.
Does it tell you if I'm gonna die?
I think there are some branches that you would study that. I don't know.
Good.
Yeah,
I don't. I was gonna ask you. I don't want to know.
I
if you see
personally,
death in my
I
future.
do not know.
Great.
Usually, it's when people are getting laid, they're getting paid, their success in career.
Feeding, fucking, or financing.
Exactly.
The 3 Fs. You're
Yes.
gonna tell me if these are gonna happen.
Yes. So the moon's in Gemini right now, which is cool. I often
Which
find
is my thing.
Yeah, which
I'm
is
a Gemini
Yeah,
moon.
which is the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. Often when people get a reading or something, like the moon is in their sign or something, it's kind of fun. It's like it's sort of speaking. It's like yes, it's Jessica's time.
It's my time.
This next birthday in May, there's going to be some stuff that's happening. So, Jupiter, the planet of expansion and optimism and like prosperity and success, is going to be going into Cancer, which is your sign.
Oh, it's my time to shine.
Yes.
This is good. Birthday.
Yes.
Cancer shining.
Yes, mama. So, and that goes into Cancer on June 10th and is going to be there for about 12 and a half months or 13 months.
I'm gonna be there for a year.
Jupiter changes signs every year. So when it's in your rising sign, it's kind of a special time.
Oh my god, I have a year of this
Yes,
wonderful
yes.
feeling.
Granted,
And then depression.
exactly. And then after that, everything falls off and it's done. So Jupiter going through your first house, it's going through your Cancer, and Cancer is your first house. Like generally, that is a time like, I mean, that's more opportunities. That's like saying yes to things. It's just generally a time where if Cancer is your kind of personal energy and your identity, as it were, that's going to be expanding somewhat. And there's stuff kind of going on in your, and I would say anything that you're doing with like media, broadcasting, anything to do with travel as well, because Jupiter rules that part of your chart for you.
So I should do these things.
More, absolutely.
More
it's
traveling.
kind of giving me the feeling of like, oh, I feel like I'm on another carpet,
I've
like
been
interviewing people.
I've been very restrictive of doing travel because the administration's been making me nervous about
Yeah,
losing money
for sure.
and time. But I have such a craving this year to travel every week.
I would say yes. It feels like there's
The
opportunities.
tour's back on, Oscar. Get
Absolutely,
ready.
let's fucking go.
It's on.
Because when you turn the age that you're turning, that the 9th house in your chart, that the part that has to do with long distance travel, publishing and media broadcasting, but also things having to do with spirituality and like that sort of thing. Those topics are more in prominence, kind of happening in your life, and those topics are ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter in Cancer is a really good place for Jupiter to be. It's able to bring more luck and like success and that kind of thing. And also, we are having eclipses in Virgo and Pisces this year. The parts of your chart that have to do with communication, with learning, but also like I kept getting the picture in my head of like you and like the carpet, like interviewing people and like that kind of energy. And so anything you're doing with like YouTube and all that, definitely I would put more energy into that. And I would say just more experiences with like being away from my usual neighborhood is sort of kind of what it's kind of giving me. I wonder if there's been maybe some like reviewing or revising about your identity when it comes to your career.
There's two pieces. I would say we reevaluated business at the start of the year
Yeah.
to be a more manageable workload
That's
that
good.
made sure everybody was doing. So that was a huge change.
Yeah.
But also, the type of content since last August that I wanted to create is
Yeah.
more real, personal,
That's
more vulnerable, more I don't necessarily want to tell you this, but this is what's happening in life.
Right.
That has been
That's cool.
my focus.
That's
is trying
cool.
to connect with people that way and just be
That's
like,
really cool.
this is my life.
Yeah.
And I want to do more of that. There have been
Totally.
roadblocks to doing that.
So we just had a solar eclipse right on that point in your chart where we're kind of the rethinking, reviewing, but career things and my public image. And that sort of signified, and that was just a couple days ago on the 29th. And that sort of signifying
Wait, what day was the 29th?
uh,
Sunday?
Yeah. Saturday, Sunday. Something like
Oh,
that.
damn.
So that eclipse came in hot too. And that signifies beginnings, but also like closing out a chapter too. Because since 2023, there's been stuff popping up in your career sector of like new things, new chapters, but also closing some shit out. And also I would say with home stuff too, like home and family stuff. There's like fluctuations and changes in those things.
So real.
Yeah. So
It's so real.
that's cool. I would say the focus on beginnings, it would tend more to be in the career part of your chart. It could also be in the home part of your chart
more
too.
so careers.
More so career. And it would suggest that like home and family life may have just also undergone changes since April 2023 too, which is like a very general statement. But,
true.
but yes.
No bullshit.
I know. I'm like pointing to the
No
commenters.
bullshit.
I was like, don't you come for me. So
It will.
that's
It's
okay.
part of
That's
life.
okay. The clause. So Venus going direct.
Yeah, tell me more about Venus's romanticness,
Yeah,
love.
because Venus went
sex.
retrograde in Aries, so she's I'm gonna say April in general in the collective feels like we're all kind of moving forward too, because there's been a lot of retrograde bullshit so far this year. in 2020. The last thing too was you've had Mars, the planet of action and energy, but also inflammation and irritation in your sign in Cancer since like January. So
I have been. That's when I made a huge shift
Yeah.
to literally. I'm pretty much using cannabis 24 hours a day.
Gotcha.
To
Yeah.
combat the irritation
Yeah.
and the aggravatedness, and I've been saying it in a different way of I've been told that I'm softer and a little
Yeah.
bit more approachable
Yeah.
because I'm
That's
not
interesting.
thinking about my initial reaction.
Yeah, totally. Just like I'm instinctually responding to things
Yes.
instead of.
Wow,
So
okay.
yeah, and just Cancer risings have been going through it. I feel like this year because Mars hanging out in your first can make you more motivated to go after things and like more action oriented. But also Mars and Cancer is just it's gonna increase that edginess and just the moodiness of like I feel like I'm gonna claw off my skin or I'm just gonna go yell at someone, you know. So
There's been a lot of moodiness and
yeah.
and being irritable.
Yes, and it's
sensitive, but like angry, sensitive.
exactly because Mars in Cancer is like a boiling kettle of water that just sort of steams. So that's just due to because it was retrograde and it'll be in Leo by April 18th. So you just have a little bit left of Mars going through your first house. So we love that for you.
All right, good. I
Because
love
fuck
that for me too.
So April is like about everything kind of going direct and moving forward. So Venus and Mercury are going direct in your 9th house of publishing and media and travel. April April and May, I would say feels like that would be a good time to, I mean, you're kind of always promoting yourself, but like that's a good time to promote yourself and like put yourself out there. And anytime Venus is in your sign, Venus does rule relationships just in general.
Yeah.
That's a time to like be with your partner and like do fun stuff together. Especially
That's what it's saying?
Yeah, I
I
mean
should
like
be with my partner and do fun stuff together?
I mean on a very general level,
Okay.
essentially, but also
People.
things, yeah.
People.
And also things connected to like beauty and just sort of like Venus going retrograde. If you have Venus really prominently in your chart, it's sort of like sometimes like your favorite hobbies or relationships or things that make you feel beautiful are just like I don't want that right now. Like it feels off. I got to change something about that.
Ooh, okay.
You know, so. Which was very apt for me this year too, because I could see where it was and it was in my work sector and ruled other things. I was like, I need to make changes there. But for you, that could have been career things because it's in your career sector. So Venus going direct is good for promoting oneself with career, but also just kind of feeling like beauty related things kind of return to normal. So in astrology right now, you're also finishing becoming a full adult with your Saturn return. So, but I'm going to say
being an adult. I'm here finally.
yes, like you're finishing that up. I'm going to say specifically though, your Saturn return was exact. When did I say?
29?
March 2023, and then October, November 2023.
Interesting.
I don't know if you recall anything of like what was happening around
In
then.
October of November of 2023.
Yes, because Saturn is like when you have your Saturn
Broke
return.
my fucking pinky nail off in October of 2023.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I just remember that very distinctly.
That is
this
okay. That
happened.
is like how I'm so glad you moved on from that.
Yes,
That
I
sounded really
did
hard.
remember to this moment.
But your Saturn return, that was when that was exact.
Okay.
Like it often can sort of put you, it will sort of make you know kind of what your vocation is or like what your path is, things having to do with burdens, responsibility, work things. But it can often just be a significant time in your life of of significant beginnings essentially. But Saturn also rules partnership for you too. So I don't know if that was like maybe like a critical like moment in like relationship or something as well. But that's also been part of your Saturn return experience since 2023. So that's finishing up. It's like you're kind of almost done with that essentially.
What is it saying that it should be done? What's it saying? What do I do?
Well, interestingly enough,
It's about to be done. What do I do?
That's a great question. Interesting, you have Saturn and Pisces in the 9th house, and the 9th house has to do with publishing and media endeavors, has to do with travel, has to do with your spirituality and beliefs.
Yeah.
So it's like very loosely having Saturn in your 9th house, a 9th house Saturn return is like getting those endeavors like really kind of up and running. It's like also clarifying.
So lean into the endeavors,
Yes.
don't cut them off.
Oh yeah, you don't run from Saturn. If you do, it's like you have to redo.
Don't run from relationships.
Yeah, it's sort of like having
Right?
to
Is that what
commit.
you're saying?
Yes, because Saturn rules your partnership sector. So commitments and like really being in it for the long haul and like working shit out.
Should be, it's something I lean into.
Yeah, and like I would assume that you maybe did that during that part of your Saturn return.
But don't do that now. That was then.
That's just like a thing in your chart. You know what?
I'm starting to spiral.
It's okay. We are Gemini spiraling. That is okay. So Saturn's gonna go to Aries this year, and I feel like there's a new thing you're gonna be working on in your career. Of like the next chapter, I think of Jessica Lahore is going to be starting specifically in May of this year when Saturn goes into Aries. So I would maybe note like a shift of like, what are my new responsibilities, my new things that I'm really gonna put work into, connected to career things. So, but I also I see that expanding, but there's work there too. But I think you're not unfamiliar with having to put some fucking work in.
I'm okay with the work. It's
Exactly.
the easiest work because I got it down.
Exactly.
Got it down.
I mean, it's kind of giving like, like Saturn going through your 10th in like a person's chart. It's like, all of a sudden, I'm a manager at my job now. I'm like, there's more responsibilities on me. Maybe managing like a bigger team or something like that.
My head is filled with so many thoughts and processes and so many things.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you touched on that I have been thinking about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that hit true to my spirit and to my soul
Yeah.
and to my world around me. There's things
Good.
that you've left me unanswered entirely. And you've actually made more complicated.
You got to
but I
be a
think
little
that's-
bit vague as
I think
an
that's
oracle.
Part of the work. Part of the work is giving the foundation of what you're saying and going with it. I've never been more interested in
Cool.
myself, and it makes me want to come and do a reading with you.
Yes, let's do it.
On the side and just blubber and cry.
You can also just DM
I
me.
have questions.
Yes.
I have questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
That need to be answered. This was amazing. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
If you want to feel as gooped as I am, where can folks find you? Because I need a second. Go ahead, tell them.
Yeah, girl. You take a minute. Dogstar.oracle.com, like D-O-G, like the dog, star, oracle.com. That handle, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. And I definitely would be more on YouTube these days. Long form content's where it's at for me. So if you're looking for like a forecast for the month or what's up with the stars, check out my YouTube channel. And yeah, otherwise I'm blabbing on all those platforms usually.
Alex, this has been the most amazing experience
Oh,
ever.
good.
I'm so
Yay.
happy. Jessica tried astrology, and I actually can respond now to people when they're like, what is
Yes.
your rising sign?
Yes.
And I'm like, it's both Gemini.
Yes.
Right?
It's Cancer, Cancer rising.
rising,
Gemini,
but my
sun and
sun
moon.
and moon.
Yeah.
See? But I'm a perfect cusp too. You heard it here, baby.
I've never seen a cuspier chart.
Yeah.
Which is iconic in itself.
Never a cuspier chart.
Yeah.
I heard
You see, these
mother.
curves are cuspy, bitch.
Ooh.
Exactly.
We'll put all of that information down below so that you can find Alex, follow everything that they're doing, and book your session because this was amazing.
Yay, thank
you
you.
for taking the time. And
my God, of course.
until the next thing that Jessica tries, we'll see you next time. Bye.
I'm an inattentional whore. Can't help it, bitch. I'm an inattentional whore.